Hey guys, my name is T2 and welcome to my stuff. Today I'm going to show you how I built this homemade disc sander. So I started off the project by making the disc itself. It's a 10-inch disc, but I should have made it into a 12-inch, but that's what I have on hand at that time. I mixed up some 2 parts epoxy and I placed it into the center hole of the disc, and I placed my 1/2-inch bolt in there and made sure that it is square on all 3 axes with my squares. Since I started this project off without a plan, I didn't film me cutting all the parts out, and later on the assembly process will be backwards also, and right now I'm sanding all the parts to prepare for the finish. If you're wondering, I'm sanding all the parts up to 120 grit sandpaper. If this is your first time here, if you like what you've seen so far, please consider subscribing down below. Thanks. What I did next is I put some packing tape on the disc itself to prevent the adhesive on the disc sander paper to stick to the wood itself and kind of have like a protective finish on it. And then I used the X-Acto knife to cut out the rest of the packing tape to match the circle. And here comes the fun part, the assembly. And as I said before, this will be backwards because all of these assembly are pre-assembled already. And here I'm attaching the riser block, and you'll see why you need that later. And each riser block is fastened with 2 screws from the bottom base to itself. And here's the actual box part that will hold the disc sander. It's basically 2 side pieces, a front and a back, and as you can see right here is basic assembly. The side pieces are fastened with 2 screws also on the side to the front piece. And then the backer piece is fastened with 4 screws onto the side pieces. And as you can see, there is a bearing already glued in there. Then I place my box onto the riser blocks and use some pocket screws to fasten them into place. I put 3 coats of water-based polyurethane onto the tabletop to make it nice and smooth, and I attached the hinges onto the base to the tabletop to make it more easily to access. Here I'm attaching the spacer blocks for the second backer piece, which will guide the disc sander to be square to the table. Alright, now comes the hard part. Listen carefully. So first you fasten a 1/2-inch nut onto the disc itself, followed with a 5/8 inch washer, then another 5/8 inch washer with another 1/2-inch nut, and then after that with another 1/2-inch nut, a 1/2-inch washer, followed by a pulley, a washer, a nut, and a 5/8 inch washer. And here I'm just fastening the second bearing with a screw. And then I fasten the second backer piece onto the spacer blocks. And don't forget to put your belt before that. And here I can fasten my circular saw onto the base. If you guys are wondering, circular saw, yes, it is way too fast to be a disc sander motor, but that's when the pulleys come in hand. And that is why there is a riser block to accommodate that space with the circular saw. If you have a motor that fits the disc sander's RPM, then you can definitely use that, but I just don't really use this circular saw, and that's what I have on hand. And here goes the first test run for the disc sander. Looks like it works pretty well. Don't forget to balance your disc also. There's a little bit of a vibration on the machine, but you can accommodate that by placing some rubber feet on the base. I then attached the adhesive back sandpaper onto my disc and then check for squareness, and it looks pretty square to me. And here goes the first test sanding. It went pretty well and all the sawdust fell into the box below, and that is why I have hinges on the tabletop so I can flip up and suck up some dust. However, there are still little fine dust that will blow right into the air, so that's why I decided to make this little dust shroud that will cover the back of the disc sander. I traced out the shape of the disc and then bring that onto the bandsaw and cut it. And then I fine-tuned my shape on the spindle sander. I then cut out the spacer blocks on the side out of MDF, and be sure to wear a dust mask when you're cutting MDF. And right now I'm drilling a 1 3/8 hole to accommodate a hose for my shop vac. Here you can see the 90-degree elbow thing that will connect to my shop vac. Here are all the parts. I used glue to glue the spacer blocks onto the side of the face and use some brad nails to nail them down into place. I use hot glue to seal off all the little edges inside the shroud so that I can make the shroud airtight. To attach the shroud to the base, I use dowels. I first drill out 2 holes on both sides of the base. Then I can put the center finder and transfer the hole size onto the shroud, drill them out, put glue in them, and attach the dowels. And at last, I attached the 2 little handles and painted the entire thing white. So as you can see, the 2 handles can be lifted up easily like so and be attached back to the base.